Host of the CRE SharkEye Show. I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Monday, we're back with energy, back to work. With Monday, we're coming back with energy, and this is the one before last, our show, which is the one before last, before our break. Why is there a break? Because the Jewish holidays are coming, the Rosh Hashanah, the Yom Kippur, the Sukkot, meaning the holidays that right now are coming upon us, and I'm an Orthodox Jew, and therefore it will be very difficult for me during those times to keep up the show. So I'm taking a break at that time, and we'll be back in a few weeks after the holidays. So this is the one before last show. Our last show will be Thursday. We're gonna have a guest on Thursday, but right now on Monday, I wanted to take the opportunity and talk to you a little bit and with an update before we finish our vacations, our summer vacations, which we hopefully enjoyed that much. And hopefully we had a very different type of vacation from the last year's vacation, because the last year's vacation really stunk. Okay, it was really bad. Due to COVID, we were forced to stay at home, do nothing, do very, very little. And all of a sudden this year, we had the opportunity of doing a little more, not tons more, but more, definitely more than last year. And we hopefully enjoyed that vacation with our families, with the people we love, etc. What I want to do today is I want to talk a little bit about the office market. A big topic. Why? Why is it a big topic? Because we all talk about residential. We all know that the residential market is the most resilient market, and we see recoveries all across the board. Definitely with the single family homes, which we spoke about a lot of times. I'm just going to briefly go over it for a second. And we definitely saw, meaning that multifamily is resilient and as strong as can be, especially after the pandemic was, ended. We saw that people always need a roof over their head, and therefore they're going to stay at home. They're going to find a place. They're going to make sure they're going to be able to pay their mortgage, pay their rent. And also home was proven to be as the place, the safe haven for families in order to be able not only to live, but also to work in. It became our office in many ways. Now, there's one huge difference. If we look across the board in the residential market, and today is not a residential market overview, we saw that all across the country, there's strength, people moving to suburbia, less, meaning people left the cities and now they're coming back very slowly to the cities, because the major cities, and I'm putting in the emphasis on New York City, which I'm going to talk about today, especially when it comes to office, is driven by an office market. Okay, New York City is driven by an office market environment. And that's why we're going to spend today time talking about office. And there's a huge conversation when it comes to office, because there's, on one hand, you have the office market that is the US office market. I'm not going to go global. I'm going to talk about the US. The US office market as, the entire country, which is recovering rapidly. What I want to tell you is I heard Cushman & Wakefield CEO Brett White saying a very interesting thing. So he says that he is expecting a full recovery. They're expecting a full recovery by 2022. Did you guys hear it? By 2022, a full recovery. Why? Because they look at the numbers. We lost 2.9 million office jobs April, May last year, okay? And we have recovered by this time 2.2 million of those jobs in the US. So we expect a full recovery by the middle of next year, meaning 2022 next year. We expect a full recovery. So this is huge. So he was asked why. I think that was CNBC. He was asked, why are we expecting that full recovery? Why is this optimistic outlook? Why am I saying this? He says, again, quoting Brett White beautifully. He says that thanks to the vaccine, we have 80%, meaning office market went up 80% between January and May of 2021. And that means that we're going up. Everything is looking beautiful. Everything is looking positive. And people have this safe mindset, and office management companies have this notion that they understand that in order for people to be able to feel safe in the office, which is so important, people want to come to the office. People want to feel safe. People want to be able to say, I'm coming to work and I want to feel that I'm in a safe environment. Not only in a safe environment, people had enough being at home. Think about it. People had enough being at home. All in all, people don't want to be at home anymore. Enough is enough. People want to get out of their house. People want to go and work with people. Companies, CEOs, principals, owners, they want to see their workers. They want to see the people that they work with them together in the office. That's what they want to see. They want to see their workers together with them because they value the brainstorm, the think tank, all the things that we value tremendously when it comes to the dynamics of a work environment, which we tremendously need and want. And we see how valuable it is nowadays. We see how valuable it is. We see how we missed it so much. Meaning, obviously, we saw the huge advantages of working from home. There's a huge advantage, less commuting time, less driving to work. People get to the point of working much earlier and much later because they are at home. At the same time, you lose that cooperation, collaboration. You lose that, and that's huge. That's a very big thing, and people miss that. Companies miss that, and that's what drives people to go back again together with a vaccine, together with the environment, et cetera, et cetera. Having said all that, the Delta variant is keeping people out of the major centers. Talking about New York City. And we see that all across the board. And we see the delay in the big cities of companies coming back to work. However, and that's a huge however. Now, you would say that this environment would convince landlords to go and say, I'm going to lower the price per square foot in office. That's what I'm going to do. And the answer is no, it's not happening. This is not what's happening in the field. In reality, we see a gain year over year going up, still going up. Why? Because landlords are not willing, are not interested in lowering the prices. What are they willing to do then? Concessions. Concessions are up. People are looking at their tenants. They want to bring them back. They don't want to lower the prices, but they're giving them all kind of concessions. But still we see a slowdown when it comes to the major cities. People are not coming back to the major cities while they're waiting for this Delta variant to go away. And we'll get to full recovery, and hopefully this whole coronavirus, the COVID-19, will vanish from the world. We all amen to that. We all want that to happen. But the office environment has been hurt tremendously. And as opposed to any other sector, the office market has so much unknown in it that is unbelievable. And I want to go and talk for a second, compare the office market to the retail market, for example. Retail market, because hotels are the whole animal of its own. When I talk about the retail market, for example, retail is really back in a way that if you have the right tenant mix in the right location, the right type, the right activity, if you have deliveries, if you have the right safe environment, and there's no, there's no closures, and you don't have to stay at home, quarantines and stuff like that, then retail is back to life again if you have the right tenancy. And that's already something that we spoke about in relation to Amazon and the e-commerce revolution. If you have the right type of tenant and the right type of tenant mix, people want to go out. People want to go and buy and stuff like that. But when it comes to the office, and people are going back to the office, when it comes to the major cities, The major cities are driven by office. People go to live in the city because they want to be close to the office. But if they don't feel safe yet because of Delta variant, etc., the cities are not going to recover that fast. Having said all that, and I've seen millions of articles and spoken to a lot of friends and a lot of people, I want to tell you something. The question, and I'm pretty certain about that, and I hope you agree with me, but the question about office is not if everything will go back. The question is when. When will it come back? Full blast. When will we be back in the offices and we will enjoy the environments that we knew before? I'll tell you another thing. The entire world today is relying also on those different types of spaces, even if you have those WeWork spaces, which got hurt tremendously. But today, they already came to their senses and into the understanding that the world is different. The pandemic changed the world. And therefore, they use technologies, and then come the prop tech, but I'm not talking about prop tech at this point, come in the technologies to solve all kind of issues where people don't have to think too much, where they go and they punch in, when they use their apps, when they use their phones, and they understand where they can go in order to be safe, less interaction with people, at the same time have the right amount of interactions with people because they need it and they want it, just like we said before. Okay? The office is the slowest thing and the most unknown. Again, but there's a huge distinction. There's a huge difference between when you talk about the entire world of office, the entire suburban world of office, as opposed to the major cities of offices. The offices in the major cities are still, you have this cloud hovering upon them that is called COVID-19, whatever variant or whatever situation it is. And that makes it really, really difficult for people to, or for those markets to recover. And to add to that mess, and again, it will be back. It's just a matter of time, but it will be slower and will be harder and will be more difficult in many ways. And I'm going to talk about transactions in a second, which are different. But when I talk about that, when I talk about the office market, it affects, in the major cities, it affects residential. I would say chain reaction is causing also the retail in those cities to be delayed. If you don't have people who come in to live because they can't go to the office, or they want to be in a different office environment that is not in a big building, not in a high-rise building, they want to be in suburbia, leave their house, be some days in the office already because they really miss it. It doesn't mean that they're going to go to the major city in the office. They want to, but they're still careful. They're still afraid. And therefore, that will cause the residential to be delayed and to go up, but slower. And the retail will be affected as well. So office, it affects so many aspects, so many factors. And having said all of the above, and I'm reading now the real deal, New York City investment sales came to life in the second quarter, recovering from an unexpected setback in the first. Listen, some 454 transactions were completed from April to June, adding up to 5.3 billion. Okay? According to Ariel Property Advisors quarterly investment sales report. You guys listen to this. This is so on one hand we're seeing it's like it's mind-boggling. One hand we have this difficulty in the city where people are coming back. On the other hand, those who want to come and invest see and seize the opportunity and want to grab those properties from those who can't hold on, who can't sit tight or are not willing to sit tight and wait for the cycle to go back. That's where opportunities are being born, and that's where it is right now. And that's why you have investment sales that are soaring. And that includes also multifamily in the city. Why? Because the city is driven, again, by office. The office market is driving the residential market. And that's what's happening to the city. So you have to really differentiate between what's happening in the market on the level of leases, on the level of the, people coming and renting again, offices in the major cities, and having investment sales, having transactions, having deals, having acquisitions happening on the ground. These are very different, and these are happening, indeed are happening. So we have to really pay attention to all those things. And we will see that the recovery will come, even in New York City, but it will be different, it will be slower, it will be, again, it's affected in different ways. Now the question is, how much of an opportunity is it for people who want to go into office? If the prices are not going down, it means that the values and those landlords are still, they want to keep the value. They don't want to go and decrease the rent per square foot because they want to keep the value. So how come you have transactions and investment sales? How come that happens? And the answer is that those who want to keep the leases and want to keep the activity and want to give concessions, those are those type of landlords that can actually sit tight, keeping their properties and having activity going and keep it alive, just like they did in 2008. They want to keep it alive to make sure that they sit tight until the market will go back. However, you still have those who are not able to do that because for them to still pay the debt service, major pain. And therefore, the opportunities are being created. So it's a very interesting situation, very unique situation here. So what's the answer? The answer is, in terms of people going back to work in the office, it will take time. In terms of those who want to find opportunities, now is the time. Now is the time. Find those who are selling, find the right brokers who will actually introduce to you those right deals that you could find. And office is one of the most interesting asset classes nowadays. And I can't wait to see when this whole thing will recover and will be back roaring and everybody will be back in the city. And talking about New York City, obviously it's the leader of the office life, is the leader of office life. We all miss it. We all miss going and living in the city, going in the subway, or being in the city, going in the subway, back and forth between meetings, going to our offices in the nice, beautiful buildings, going to eat there, having the life and the environment that we miss so much. Everybody misses it. So it will take a little longer. The Delta variant is upon us. Go get vaccinated. We can beat this. It's all going to be good. So guys, I'm going to see you on Thursday. Thursday, again, we're going to have the last show of this season. Next season is going to be beginning of October. You guys take care.